Hey, gang, come on in, one and all. Great to have you all here with us at the beginning of the new golden age. Just what, five? We're not even 5 weeks in. We've got 4 more years of this. Absolutely incredible stuff. We got a really cool show for you tonight. Let me ask you, what comes to mind when you hear the term Christian nationalism? Hey, gang, you know we look out for each other here on this channel, and your health is our number one priority. So if you're one of the 100 million Americans struggling with all the weight gain and loss of energy that comes with a fatty liver, you've got to try Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement. It contains 12 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. It's manufactured right here in the USA, and it's approved by independent American doctors. And if you click on that link below right now, you can try Liver Health Formula and receive a free bottle of blood sugar formula when you order today. So don't let a fatty liver keep you sluggish and inactive. Click on that link below right now or go to getliverhelp.com/Turley and claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Turley. Let us know what word or words come to mind when you hear the term Christian nationalism. Is it theocracy? Mullahs? Threat to democracy? What is it? Well, if you're part of the far left legacy media, the media cabal, that word might as well be panic. That's right. The legacy media is absolutely flipping out over Trump and, yes, Elon Musk's Christian nationalism. That's what they're calling it. Now, you might automatically be thinking, well, wait a minute now. I didn't know Trump and Elon were, particularly the most religious guys out there, are they? And of course, in many respects, they're not. But the woke left, particularly the liberals over at salon.com, are freaking out at how both Trump and Elon are actually running cover for a Project 2025 blueprint for Christian nationalist takeover of DC. There you go. There's the headline. What the Lord established. Elon Musk is camouflaging a Christian nationalist takeover. Now, you might think that such a blueprint involved a highly elaborate and complex scheme for such a takeover. But actually, according to these leftists, it's really quite simple. It just involves 2 steps. First, purge the majority of federal workers from all the various departments in DC. And then second, replace them all with hardcore loyalist theocrats. And boom, that's it. You got yourself a good old-fashioned Christian nationalist take over the country. And that's exactly what Trump and Elon are actively doing, according to these panic leftists in the legacy media. And of course, Trump and Elon are not alone in this. They're being aided and abetted by the so-called Theo Bros. Right? So the Theo Bros are these high-profile members of Trump's team who are all actively transforming America into an explicitly and overtly Christian nation. Now, that, again, at least is what many woke activists disguised as journalists are freaking out over in the legacy media. Of course, at the helm of this theocratic transformation is none other than the traditionalist Catholic par excellence, J.D. Vance. Vance recently sparked a fascinating theological debate around the concept of ordo amoris. He must be trying to bring in a theocratic Christian nationalism because he's speaking Latin. Ordo amoris, or better, the right ordering of our loves. And he articulated this concept brilliantly. It's actually an old classical, philosophical, as well as theological concept of how the Christian mission to evangelize the world is never at the expense of one's own culture. So classically, the Christian mission to evangelize the world is realized through the love-filled transformation of one's own culture, right? Starting with oneself, right? Heal thyself, physician, right? Then that Healing of oneself extends out into one's family, and then one's neighbor and neighbors and culture and nation, and then from your nation out into the world. And so JD recognized that the pattern throughout history is that we first transform our own culture, our own nation, because we love our culture and we love our nation. We don't despise it. We don't spit on it. We don't declare it racist, bigoted, and phobic and the like. We start with a love and a transformative love of our own culture, and then that extends out with the same love to reach other nations outside our borders. And the more national cultures that are transformed, a distinctly Christian civilization arises from that, which in turn transfigures the cosmos. Now, astonishingly, a lot of Christians out there, obviously more liberal Christians, even frankly, a lot of disappointing evangelicals, even a very, very disappointing Pope, never seem to have ever heard of this concept, the ordo amoris, the right ordering our loves, to first bless and transform our own culture before we seek to bless and transform the cultures of others. And so, in freaking out over Vance, ironically, they only ended up revealing their own ridiculous historical ignorance of this once very central concept in a theology of nation, a national theology, as it were, that J.D. Vance articulated beautifully. But then, of course, you've got other Theo Bro participants in this inner circle here. Pete Hegseth, right? He's got that horrible Jerusalem cross tattooed to his chest. You got Mike Johnson. You also have so-called Theo-sisses, like Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's been empowered by Trump to lead an all-out effort to fully prosecute anti-Christian violence and vandalism in all government institutions. And then, of course, Paula White, who's now the head of Trump's newly created White House Faith Office. But the real threat among the Theo Bros for these panic far leftists is Trump's new office and management director, Russ Vought. Now, many people don't know, but Vought is actually the architect of Project 2025. Yes, the infamous Project 2025. And Vought has long advocated the use of government power to revitalize America as a vibrant Christian nation by instituting policies that restore the centrality of the American family. He wants to destroy any and all things woke. He is advocating crushing DEI, instituting Christian ethics in public places and government jobs, pushing pro-life policies, Christianizing the school system, advocating for public displays of faith, like the Ten Commandments in all public buildings and the like. So I get it. This guy, Russell Vaughn, is like public enemy number one for all of these Project 2025 freaked out libs. But something even worse has happened. All those Theo Bros aside, what these leftists are now ultimately concerned about is that the richest man in the world has recently embraced a kind of Christian nationalism. So in his recent interview with Tucker Carlson, Elon made it clear that he thought of himself as what he called a cultural Christian. And what's so interesting is he actually has a very deep understanding of what that means. He recognizes that every culture is rooted and maintained. It's continually vivified by religion. In other words, religion, in effect, serves as the cult of culture. And Elon has recognized that if you're going to save civilization, you do have to embrace the traditional religion of that civilization, at least in some way. And that religion functions as the cult of the culture you're trying to save. So the far left is recognizing, to their horror, and I frankly think they're actually right, that Elon is increasingly all in on the whole notion of revitalizing Western civilization in and through the reawakening of a particularly Christian nationalist and, dare I say, even civilizationalist vision. Now, unfortunately for the woke left, Elon is not alone in this endeavor. What's so interesting in all of this is that the latest national survey from the Public Religion Research Institute, the PRRI, they found that a full 1/3 of the nation identifies as explicitly Christian nationalist. 1/3. It's the same number from a similar study conducted by the same organization back in 2023. Now, according to this PRRI survey, a Christian nationalist is one who believes in 5 propositions. Christian nationalists affirm that the U.S. government should declare America overtly, expressly a Christian nation, that U.S. laws should be based on Christian values. 3, that if the U.S. moves away from our Christian foundations, we will not have a country anymore. We will be lost as a culture and as a civilization. 4, being Christian is an important part of being truly American. And 5, finally, God has called Christians to exercise dominion over all areas of American society. Now, the results were particularly terrifying for secular liberals because we found that even in certain states, a majority of the citizens are actually Christian nationalists. They fit this bill. This was a very, very extensive study involving thousands upon thousands of people. So, for example, in the states of Oklahoma and Mississippi, the vast majority of the citizens there, Oklahoma and Mississippi, consider themselves Christian nationalists. They ascribe allegiance to all 5 of those principles. Half the citizens in Louisiana, Arkansas, West Virginia, and North Dakota are as well considered Christian nationalists. What's even more interesting to me is that according to a recent survey conducted again by this same agency, PRRI, a quarter of Americans surveyed believe that Trump was indeed ordained by God to be president. That's 1 in 4 people you meet on the streets. Now I got to say, I don't know how else to interpret what happened on November the 5th when we interpreted against the backdrop of J13. Right, July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. You know, I'm sorry. This is exactly as I reported it the following. Well, not the that was the Saturday. So as I reported it on the Monday following, the entire world, I made the argument, the entire world witnessed a bona fide miracle of God. I mean, there's simply no other way of interpreting what happened, especially in light of the massive electoral recalibration around Trump with Elon Musk and RFK Jr. and Tulsi all joining in, the extraordinary electorate realignment. I mean, in many respects, our politics have completely changed as a result of what happened on that day, as a result of that miracle. In other words, that miracle in J13 led to the miracle that we're all witnessing each and every day right now with the complete and total dismantling of the administrative state and the deep state. And if Project 2025 has its way, they're all going to be replaced by conservative Christian loyalists. But it's not just on the national scene. As the PRRI study noted, an increasing number of state governments are instituting Christian nationalist policies. So, for example, the Texas state legislature is considering right now as we speak a whole series of bills that would infuse Christian faith into the public school curriculum, from school prayer to Bible classes to the public display of the 10 Commandments. And interestingly, they believe they've got the courts, particularly the Supreme Court, on their side in all of this. In Alabama, lawmakers are pushing similar bills that would mandate school prayer and the public display of the 10 Commandments in all public school classrooms, very similar to what Louisiana has just passed and signed into law. The Oklahoma state legislature has just mandated all public schools to teach the Bible and the 10 Commandments. In Idaho, a bill is being debated that would have students actually read daily Bible passages until the entire Bible is read by every Idaho student over the course of 10 years. A similar bill is being considered in Wyoming. I mean, are you seeing a pattern here? I mean, bottom line, the cult of American culture is reawakening. The cult of American culture is reawakening. It's what scholars call retraditionalization, and it's happening literally all over the world as we speak. The reawakening of orthodoxy in Russia, the rise of China as a renewed Confucian civilization, the BJP of India, the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the rise of what's called Hindutva, which in many respects is sort of like a Hindu version of Sharia law that's being implemented all throughout Indian society as we speak. We could go on and on and on. Ottoman Turkey, Shinto Japan. As liberal globalism wanes, more and more populations are returning to nation, culture, custom, and tradition as the means for revitalization of social and cultural life. And this means a mass return to religion. And that's exactly what we're seeing happening here in the United States. So I have to say, I don't see this rise of Christian nationalism as some, nefarious secret plot by theocrats to take over the nation. This isn't some conspiracy like the leftists at salon.com want you to believe. What's really happening here, when all is said and done, is their wokeness is dying. And frankly, what wokeness did, if we're honest, what wokeness did is it called the bluff of the lie of the radical separation of church and state. When you expel the church from the public square, which no founding father ever advocated for, when you expel the church out of the public square, the public nature abhors a vacuum, right? Isn't that what Kamala said the other night in her drunken rant? Nature abhors the vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. And you are going to have a religious system come in and provide the ethic, the public ethic for the nation. That is precisely what wokeness was. It was a radical fundamentalism that swooped into the vacuum left by the expelling of the church from the public square. Unfortunately for the left, that bizarre period of time of wokeness, that period of time is coming to an end, thankfully. Their liberal globalism is passing away, and a new faith, or better, a renewed faith, is taking its place. The nation is re-traditionalizing. Again, it's the same thing we're seeing in Russia, in China, in India, in Turkey, all over the world. Our nation as well is returning back to our classical cultural religion. And as a result of that re-traditionalization, the left's woke insanities are indeed, thankfully, coming to an end. Hey there, Dr. Steve here, and I got a question for you. What if you could go back in time and get in on the Bitcoin era when it was still just under $1? Or buy a prime real estate before the market exploded, say in Manhattan? Or invest in a company like Tesla before the whole world caught on? Well, that's exactly where we are right now. The parallel economy is exploding like never before. New financial opportunities are opening up, and those who see the shift and take action early are the ones who will prosper the most. That's why I'm hosting a live 90-minute event on February 27th called the America's Golden Age Summit. Now, I'll be joined by some amazing expert guests who are going to show you how to position yourself for massive success in this new era. But even better, what exactly to do in this new era. It's a truly one-of-a-kind, game-changing event. Listen, early bird tickets are now just $7, but not for long. Click the link, grab your spot, and be a part of America's Golden Age Summit. Do not miss this chance to get ahead. I can't wait to see you there.